On today's show, the Capitals are rolling on their trip out west as they down the Avalanche. They down the Golden Knights. Oh, yeah. And Alex Ovechkin gets a hat trick next on this edition of Locked On Capitals.
Your Locked On Capitals, your daily podcast on the Washington Capitals.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, hello and welcome into this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Dan Holme. I've covered the Capitals for the last 3 seasons for Locked On and various other outlets before that. I'm also the host of the weekly show called The Capitals Minutecast, available wherever you find your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. Still searching for a great candidate for your company? Don't search, just match with Indeed. So in this edition of Locked On Capitals, we talk about how the Capitals are rolling as they pick up 2 huge wins over the weekend. And these weren't, meh teams. These were 2 teams that were pretty good as the Caps pick up big wins over the Golden Knights and the Avalanche. How are they getting it done? I'll talk about that a little bit later. I'll talk about Connor McMichael. To be honest with you, I could make this podcast most exclusively about Connor McMichael as he is rolling, picked up 2 goals in the game against the Avalanche. He is on a tear. I'll talk about that a little bit later. I'll talk about the Capitals taking down the Golden Knights. And to close out the show, I'll talk about the Caps versus the Avs. But I think a great place to start is with a great start of Alex Ovechkin. And it's pretty much the start of the season. But in general, what we witnessed as Alex Ovechkin and the Caps took down the Vegas Golden Knights with a commanding 5-2 victory was stunning. You take a look at it, the game tonight, it was a tough one. They're coming off the game against the Avalanche. I thought to myself, are they going to be able to have enough fuel in the tank to down a formidable opponent? They did just that. And it was Alex Ovechkin leading the charge. It wasn't him exclusively, but in this first segment, I'll talk about his performance in this game and his performance in this season. And ultimately, what is the trajectory of Alex Ovechkin altogether? To start the season, I said maybe 35 goals. We take a look at last season. I hate to keep referring to last season because, let's be honest, it was a blip on the radar. Got off to a slow start, all-star break, ended the season with 31 goals. To start the season, they said he was only going to get 16 goals, and everything has changed. This is vintage Alex Ovechkin. And I think we might be witnessing history this season. I definitely think it is possible that Alex Ovechkin catches and passes the great one, Wayne Gretzky, this season, defying odds. I don't think anyone saw this coming. A lot of the insiders, he's washed. He's 39 years old. There's no signs of that. And if you watch the game tonight, it was quite something. So let's do that. Let's dive into Alex Ovechkin's performance. The grade 8, Alex Ovechkin achieved his 31st career hat trick in this game. It was an empty netter, albeit, and I know that he gets a lot of grief from some of the press and, pundits that, he's getting a lot of goals, but there are a lot of empty netters. And even Alex Ovechkin himself, he has found a way to find humor in it. In some of the post-game interviews, he's like, yeah, I'm scoring a lot of goals, a lot of empty netters, but it's not just that. He is on fire. That first line in particular, quite something. The line with Strome and Alexei Protas has been fire. Now, can you believe it? He's only 29 goals away from the NHL's all-time scoring record. And there are a lot of things to consider. Injury. He is a bit older, and I'm not trying to take this in a negative direction. I'm just saying that all arrows are pointing in the direction that he will catch Gretzky and pass him. Can you believe I'm saying that? But he will. But there are certain caveats. There are certain things to look out for. And injury is one of those. You saw that he left the ice briefly after he took that shot off his skate that, who knows what the season holds. But right now, things are looking very good for the Great Eight. He kicked things off in the first period. That's when the Capitals were rolling with a power play goal that deflected off defenseman Alex Pietrangelo. Hey, I don't care if it has to bounce off the opponent's gear or whatever the case might be, stick. I'm all about it. As long as that odometer keeps turning for goals scored, that is quite something. And it found a way to pass Ilya Samsonov. Yeah, you remember that Ilya Samsonov on the Capitals. If you remember, everyone was all hot on Samsonov and Vanacek and how they were going to be the great number 1 and 2. It never was the case. And ultimately, Ilya Samsonov is a bit of fool's gold in and of himself, as he has never lived up to his full potential. But that's not what we're going to talk about. We're talking about Alex Ovechkin. That goal was his 315th career power play goal, and it also extended his point streak to 4 consecutive games. Again, Alex Ovechkin is showing no signs of slowing down. And that was the talk. Everyone, he's going to have to slow down at some point. We did not see that. And it wasn't just that. Later, Ovi found the net again during a crucial 2-on-1 break late in the second, and he wrapped up his hat trick with an empty netter. That brings his season total to 13 goals, with an impressive 11 of those coming in the last 10 games. Chugga, 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 chugga. The Alex Ovechkin train is coming, and you better look out. There's no team out there right now that I'm really worried about the Capitals facing, especially with Alex Ovechkin and how great he has been playing. If Alex Ovechkin keeps on this pace, he would score 58 goals this season, putting him on track to surpass Wayne Gretzky and hit the 900 career goal mark. Now, the projections now that are really early is that it could be March, but to be honest with you, it could be much earlier than that. So what do I want all of you to do that are watching or listening to this show is check your schedule around March. It very well could happen, and we'll have a more definitive answer the closer we get to that time. But it does seem that it is definitely a possibility that it could be around the month of March. Quite exciting. And, like I say, witnessing history, Capitals history in real time, it's quite something. So you take a look at it. Again, to start this season, there was, just a game or two that I thought, this is going to be a slow start for Alex Ovechkin, but all of that has been dashed. He has been full steam ahead all season and just knocking it out of the park. At 39 years old, knocking down 13 goals, quite impressive. Now, are there some empty netters in there? Sure. Do I care? Absolutely not. I don't think anyone cares. The only people that really make comments on that are the detractors, the people that are, at the end of the day, I think a little bit of jealousy jealous of what Alex Ovechkin has accomplished. And he's getting it done, like I said, with that first line that has been fired. Dylan Strome, Alexei Protas. Didn't really see that coming. There was a lot of thought, I think, that went into that with Spencer Carberry and his assistants, what line and what center would get him the most productivity, but I don't want to change anything. I didn't see Alexei Protas playing on the top line, but that has been the right fit. And Dylan Strome has been a great person to kind of take the torch from Nick Backstrom and really help Alex Ovechkin continue going and going. And I think it could happen. And he's probably going to be assisted by Dylan Strome, and the excitement that surrounds this season and Alex Ovechkin, it is quite palpable. All right, so coming up here after the break, we'll talk about the game in general. It wasn't just Alex Ovechkin. The team, it was a really great team win as the Capitals downed the Golden Knights. I'll discuss straight ahead. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash run your game all season long on PrizePicks. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. PrizePicks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, so your lineups stay in place even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, PrizePicks keeps your lineups live. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 bet. That's use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 bet. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, welcome back into this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It is your team. Every day you can find me over on Twitter. It's at DanCaps218. You can find the show on Twitter. It's at Locked On Caps. So the Caps downing the Avalanche, doubting the Golden Knights. Quite something, like I talked about. Did they have enough fuel in the tank to down the Knights? They found a way to get it done, and quite convincingly. I did see that to start the second period, that there was a concerted effort by the Golden Knights to really pour on the pressure, and they did that. I thought they were going to make it close, and if the Capitals did not find a way to batten down the hatches, well, I think it could have gotten out of hand. But the Capitals found a way to get it done. And it's been a while since we've seen the Caps snag a regular season win at T-Mobile Arena, especially since that unforgettable Stanley Cup triumph. Well, it's been quite some time, but a few seasons ago. Let's go with a few. So this win feels particularly sweet. And I think that there are energies still in Vegas, after the Capitals pulling off the improbable. And I know it's been quite some time already, but I think that there is still some of that bad blood, even though a lot of those players on the Golden Knights aren't there anymore, that there will always be a special meaning when I think anytime the Capitals play in Vegas. And it was quite stunning in the game tonight as the Capitals, like I say, pick up a big win. So in the first segment, I talked about Alex Ovechkin and what he did, but this was not just about Alex Ovechkin, and it wasn't all about scoring defensive contributions. Ovechkin showcased some serious defensive skills too. He made a crucial shot block, if you saw that, where he almost had to play goalie there for a moment. There is a lot of different things that the Great Eight has done, but being a netminder, was one of the things that he did tonight. He made a crucial shot block and had a significant stick check on Ivan Barbashev early in the second. Thwarting a potential, I guess you could say, game-tying goal. It would have been. There's no there's no two ways about it. That would have been the case. But I think it was just the Capitals game. And it's not about luck. It's not about kismet or serendipity. This was a game that the Capitals were meant to win just based on everyone pulling on that rope. The thing that Barry Trotz used to say. And that was the case. In this case, it was Alex Ovechkin playing goalie almost briefly there for a moment. And you take a look at it, the Caps defense improved over last season. They've already recorded 11 goals this year compared to just 24 the entire last season. And why? Why is it? Well, it is a new and improved blue line for the Capitals. Jakob Chychrun finding the back of the net. Matt Roy shut down John Carlson. I think that Trevor Van Riemsdyk is playing much better than he has before. And Martin Feravari laying out the body, making those big hits, that this team is just playing very, very well. But let's talk about other key players. And since we're talking about the blue line, let's talk about Jakob Chychrun. I think that the sounds, the chatter's getting louder, that we need to find a way to get him to a longer term deal so he can be a Capital, not just for the short term, but hopefully for the long term. And I know what I've said. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I don't want to be too thirsty when it comes to Jakob Chychrun on the Capitals. But hey, there's not. So far, from what I've seen, there is not a lot that makes me think, is this the right guy for this team? He has been great. He scored his third goal in 4 games with a powerful shot thanks to a nice pass from Strome. Knocking it out of the park defensively, offensively. That marked his 5th goal of the season, showing just how productive he's been lately. And health. We want him to stay healthy. Jakob Chychrun, all the Capitals, really, but he has been nothing short of stellar for the Capitals. And another player that I'm very, very happy that is getting productivity. We saw him be huge against the Golden Knights, against the Avalanche, came to the team on a PTO, a return back home for Jakub Vrana, Jakub Vrana, Jake the Snake, just finding a big way. He scored an important goal by Alexei Protas. Rasmus Sandin deserves a shout out as well, as he assisted in moving the puck, marking his 5th consecutive game with at least 1 point. And that was the game, or that was the moment where Alex Ovechkin left the ice briefly, and he came out on the ice and scored a goal. Like, wow, quite an answer. And Vrana, again, I don't think there's any real question about who that guy is going to be on the third line. I think Sonny Milano, I hate to say it to a certain extent, but I think that Vrana is really endearing himself to the Capitals. Vrana has been on fire, nothing short of fire, scoring in back-to-back games and getting points in 5 of his last 7 games. I'm loving Jakub Vrana's game. I am loving seeing Lars Eller out there. I'm like, did I get hit on the head? I mean, is this the old time Caps? Is this 2018 all over again? The familiarity and this team just gelling in a way that I haven't seen in quite some time is quite something. And, you can be a great team. You can score goals. You can have, a great blue line, but your team is going to go nowhere without rock solid net minding. And Logan Thompson was just that tonight. It was great to see him back in Vegas after that offseason trade. Of course, he previously took a win against the Golden Knights in October and aimed for a season series sweep. Thompson was stellar in this game, saved an impressive 39 of 41 shots, especially shining extra bright in the third period, where it could have got out of hand, but the Capitals ultimately slammed the door, and that was due in large part to Logan Thompson. Bit of a scary moment out there, as I'm not entirely sure what happened. I was watching the feed on the NHL Network, which was the feed from the Vegas Golden Knights, and it did appear that he was briefly injured or hurt his arm, and it was tough. They were replaying it a bunch of different times, and he didn't get hit with a hockey stick. I'm not sure what he did, but there was a moment that I thought, this is all too good to be true. Did Logan Thompson just get injured? As it turns out, he must have been fine, because he played the rest of the game and made some big saves. But if we're going to put a circle, give a bright, shiny star to a guy that's been huge, not just for himself, the Capitals, Alex Ovechkin, but Dylan Strome has been clutch and had a fantastic game with 2 assists, bringing his total to 21 for the season. He's second in the league for assists and leads the Capitals with a total of 26 points. Quite something. That puts him in a tie for 6th highest points total in the NHL. What a dynamic player the Capitals acquired. A guy that was put on the scrap heap by the Chicago Blackhawks, if you can believe it, has been nothing short of amazing for this team. And, got to give it to BMAC and all that kind of things. You take a look at it, the moves, the strategic moves that have been made just this past summer, but just, pretty much for the duration of Brian McClellan's time as being a GM. Not a lot of moves that I'm like, ooh, that was a stinker. He has made great moves, and the Capitals acquiring Dylan Strome has been huge. And I don't think you'll get any complaints out of him about him from Alex Ovechkin either. Huge. This team, all things considered, is dialed in and playing very well. Any loose ends that might have been out there, I'm talking about the third line with the addition of Eller, Mangiapane, and Vrana, has been nothing but killer. Lines 1 through 4, all killer, no filler, and the blue line chipping in as well. There is a lot to love about this year's Capitals team. All right, so coming up here straight ahead, it was not just a Golden Knights game. This was a fun weekend as a Capitals fan, and the players, I imagine, as well, as the Caps down at the Avalanche. I'll break down that game straight ahead. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent survey. So if you are involved in the hiring, the firing, HR in general, you need Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support the Locked On Capitals podcast by saying you heard about it on Locked On Capitals. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. You need to hire. You need Indeed. All right, welcome back into this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It is your team every day. So like I say, I just talked about Alex Ovechkin. I talked about the big win over the Golden Knights, but it wasn't just that. The Capitals downing the Avalanche was quite something. Now, the Avalanche, to be fair, is a team that is struggling in the net-minding department. Georgiev and has not been as advertised. I think that when the Rangers look back on it, they had Shesterkin and Georgiev on the team. I'm thinking to myself, they probably were happy that they went with Shesterkin. So this was the game against the Avalanche that was a bounce-back victory, considering the Capitals lost the game before against the Maple Leafs. But it was a bounce-back game, and they did just that, securing a convincing 5-2 victory against the Avs. And like I said, to talk about right off the top of the show, I could have pretty much made this show about Connor McMichael. I am on the Connor McMichael hype train. I am loving his game. He had an absolutely stand-up performance, making a significant impact on that game. And what is different about Connor McMichael this year versus the season before? Powerful skating, aggressive skating, doesn't get driven off the puck as easy, high hockey IQ. That is what Spencer Carberry said, that his hockey IQ is off the charts, gets the greasy goals, can get a goal backhand, forehand, whatever the case is. Connor McMichael has been money for the Capitals all season long. And not only did he hit the crossbar during a power play, but he also netted that powerful shot that put the Caps ahead 2-1 in that game. That goal extended his point streak to a career high 5 games. Quite something. If we take a look back on last summer, there was rumblings out there. Could the Capitals trade Connor McMichael for Rutger McGroarty? I think the Capitals made the right decision in that case, as I think that Connor McMichael is a huge piece, not only now, but in the future as well. And there was that moment where he took the puck off the chin while forechecking that shows some serious grit on his part. He was kind of rubbing his chin there for a while. He also forced a turnover, made a slick backhand shot to score again. And that really put the pressure on Colorado, just showcasing what he can do in any situation. There is not a situation that I think that Connor McMichael is overwhelmed, has grown by leaps and bounds, and make absolutely zero mistake about it. It's due in large part to what? To playing on a line with PLD and Tom Wilson. So you take a look at it, that's what it's all about. If there is only one, and I'm not going to even say it's a bad thing, as Connor McMichael is scoring a lot of goals, do you think that Tom Wilson potentially would score more goals if, PLD and Wilson weren't feeding Connor McMichael the puck all the time? Now, that's rather here nor there. I don't care how the Capitals score the goals. It's just something to consider that maybe they could reconfigure if for some reason the Magic has lost a little bit during the season. And that play by Connor McMichael was so compelling that it forced the Colorado Avalanche to make a goaltender change, which they're struggling in net. Generally speaking, minus their net minding is one heck of a team. Goal scorers, defenders, quite a team. So right now he's leading the NHL with 11 goals at even strength and has totaled a total of 12 goals this season. If he keeps this up, he could be looking at an impressive 97-point season. Again, I'm loving it. Capitals fan, how hyped are you right now to have this team coming together? I've done this show for the last 3+ seasons. That there was so much talk about this team getting older and yada, 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 that it is in a much better position. Just the moves that was made last summer and the great draft picks, that this team is just going to be amazing in years to come. And I don't even want to get that far ahead. They're going to be good this year, but sometimes I have to pinch myself. That hurt a little, that this team is playing so well. And it's from guys that have taken the next step. Another guy, let's shift gears and talk about PLD. A lot of people, hey, how's that PLD going? He's not finding the back of the net on any regular basis, but I don't care. He is getting assists. He's that big frame with Tom Wilson that is facilitating in a lot of ways on this goals that are being scored by Connor McMichael. And he made some notable contributions with 2 assists. That's what it's about. His ability to get involved was crucial, especially when he facilitated a power play goal for Jakub Vrana in the first period, leveling the score early on in the game. So, to be honest with you, I'm not really concerned about it at all. I know that this is a very goals-centric league. It's all about goals, goals, goals. And if you're a netminder, save. His assists and what he's doing has been nothing short than stellar for the Caps. Later in the game, he helped extend the lead to 4-2 by working hard along the boards to transition the puck to Jakob Chychrun. So it's not even just playing on the second line. It's just, a special play or the different opportunities that he's been presented with on the PP, those kind of things that he has been just a stellar piece and a big pickup. And let that be a lesson to everyone out there that snickered, that sneered, that, oh my God, what did the Capitals do signing this guy? He's going to be on the Capitals for 7 years. Who cares? I love it. Dubois has been on a tear lately with assists in 3 straight games and 4 out of his last 5. What he's doing, he's showing excellent positioning and effort on the ice, racking up 8 primary assists this season, second on the team. That was as of the Caps versus the Avs. Anyway, I'm going in backwards order here. So now let's talk about the defensive performance in the game, as it was huge in the game as well. After the tough third period collapse leading to an overtime loss the last time, the Caps were looking to tighten things up, and they did that. I think that the loss to the Maple Leafs was definitely a shot across their bow, and they did just that by just being shut down, particularly against the likes of McKinnon, Cale Makar, and Mikko Rantanen. Limiting McKinnon to 0 shots on goal was a huge win for this team. Speaks volumes. It's all coming together. Sure, they gave up 2 goals to the Avalanche fourth line, but the overall defensive effort was amazing. And let's not forget about goaltending. I talked about in the second segment about Logan Thompson, Chucky, huge. That's what I'm talking about. You almost have to am I living in the real world right now? Is this bizarre world that the Capitals have a great number 1 and number 2 in net, and there's not a player on the ice right now that I would touch for anything? I'm totally drinking the Capitals Kool-Aid, and I'm a bit drunk on it, and I am loving it. Charlie Lindgren was solid between the pipes, stopping 17 of 19 and shaking off a 2-game losing streak. He was going to find his way, and it's going to make it interesting down the stretch about the long-term answer in net. He showcased a highlight reel goal, is what I'm going to say, saved late in the game, which definitely helped maintain momentum for the Capitals. And sometimes it's those highlight reel saves that, it's like a fight in the game almost about shifting momentum. Sometimes your netminder stepping up clutch can do the same thing. Special teams, the power play has made a noticeable improvement. Vrana's power play goal was just one highlight over the last 3 games for the Capitals. A big improvement. They've converted 3 goals on 5 attempts. Hey, it was all doom and gloom about the power play, but now which gives them a 60% success rate. Not too bad. Pretty good. That's the kind of power play that can swing games. So one of the things that was, what I'm going to say, maybe an Achilles heel for the team is no longer the case. And just this team playing so well has got me excited. Lars Eller's back. I'm just so happy about a lot of different things. And, I know that that's kind of, nostalgia and that kind of thing, but I don't care. This crew, and it's not just my thoughts on it. It is Ovechkin and Wilson talking about that they feel comfortable with playing with Eller, with Vrana, that they're so happy that they're back on the team. So taking a look at the schedule, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and view it as a blip on the radar. The loss to the Maple Leafs. They downed the Avalanche 5-2 over the Golden Knights. And tonight, they take on the Utah hockey team, which is going to be exciting for me to see that all play out. And then Thursday evening, another game against the Avs. But Capitals fans, let's high five everyone. Come on, high five. If you're in your car, high five your steering wheel. If you're in the parking lot, do some donuts out there. There is a lot to be hyped about. This team is killer right now. And I hope you guys are along with me all season long on Locked On Capitals. All right. Once again, I want to thank you for joining me on this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can listen all season long. And I want to thank all of you that are making this show successful by listening on the audio side and on YouTube. It's really about you guys doing that is making this show so successful. So next time, we'll talk about the Capitals taking on the Utah hockey team and what all that entails. I'll have that on tomorrow's show. Make sure and stay tuned. But once again, thank you for joining me on this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It's after midnight here. I'm a bit tired here, but thank you all for watching the show, and let's go Caps.